days, I'm talking about the early 80s, African fashion was not so
embraced.
Yeah, because it was very easy getting imported clothing,
Absolutely.
There was still Kingsway, there was even 70s, there was UTC and so on. You get there, you buy your clothes. And my dad saw me one of the days and said, "You, this girl, you are playing with snake skin. If you see snake, would you that wants its skin back, what would you do?" I remember I used to use Ankara, I'll mix it with lace to do some outfits, skirts and so on. To be honest, that passion has always been there, because even in school, my favorite subject was needlework.
You're welcome to another episode of FemmeBiz with me, Jolaádé. This is the space where we host intelligent conversations with women who are shaping business, industry, and policy across Africa and beyond. The theme for today's episode is heritage, standards, and the future of African fashion. So beyond aesthetics, preserving heritage while building a sustainable African fashion brand. In this conversation with me, I have Mrs. Jolaade Akanbi. Hi, ma. You're welcome to my show. You're welcome to FemmeBiz. Thank you so much for being here. So on this conversation with Mrs. Jolaade, we'll be exploring the intersection of heritage, craftsmanship, industry standards, diaspora identity, and the evolving global perception of African fashion. And please allow me to introduce, or I'll allow my guest to introduce herself formally to you, our audience. Mrs. Jolaade, please kindly introduce yourself to us and what we need to know about you.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Jolaade Akanbi. I'm the founder and creative director of Jolaádé. Jolaádé, the full name is Jolaade Fashion Designs, but we call it Jolaádé. Jolaádé is about African heritage, celebrating the African heritage, and creating contemporary designs.
One of the very interesting things about my guest today is that she finished with a degree in English. Like, she has a degree in English from Obafemi Awolowo University, and she also has a career. She built a career in the banking sector for years before she eventually chose to follow her passion again, the passion that she had always had. I think last week you were telling me that your dad always said he was always peculiar about you and the designs you were making back when you were still, in school. Yes.
Yeah.
And and like after some years of not, should I say, putting her hands into what she loves, she eventually, after relocating to the UK, right? After some time, she decided, okay, it is time to start this. And that's where Jolaádé was born, right? The fashion brand Jolaádé, which is the meaning. Ma, please give us the meaning for anyone who is watching us that doesn't know.
Ola is wealth. So you're enjoying the wealth of the crown. So that's
Absolutely.
what it is.
I love that.
Ade means crown.
Okay, ma. So I think we're going to start our conversation now by, first of all, I think I would love for you to tell me about your career journey, or should I just say the beginning of your life when you started school to take English. What was even that? What drove you there, first of all, and then ending up in banking?
Well, I went just like she said. I started my education. I've always been in Lagos anyway. I grew up in Lagos. And after finishing secondary school, to be honest, that passion has always been there, because even in school, my favorite subject was needlework. We used to do it then. And I've always been art inclined, And my dad was always saying, why don't you do... So I enjoyed physics, but my passion had always been art. So all my subjects were art inclined. But fast forward, I got admission into Obafemi Awolowo University, and I graduated with English studies, specializing in English literature. And all the while, the passion for fashion has always been in me. And that's while I used to create tops and so, because when people see what I wear, they love it. You know, I play around with so many textiles and so on. And even then, I remember I used to use Ankara, I'll mix it with lace to do some outfits, skirts and so on. But I didn't understand what it is to make a garment. So I used to use paper patterns and now make it my own, which is I'll play around with the fabrics and so on. And when I get to school, people say, we love it. And then when I'm going back to school from holidays, I can make simple tops and so on. And then I sell out. Just like she was trying to crack a joke. She was saying, my dad was always saying, you this girl, you know, because I loved using leather. And that back in those days, Tejo Show Market was there. They used to sell snake skin, the whole wrap. I'll go there, buy it. People use it to make shoes, but me, I'll use it to make clothing. I can put it on the lapel. And my dad saw me one of the days and said, you this girl, you are playing with snake skin. If you see snake, would you that wants its skin back, what would you do? I'll do a big lapel, put skin there and so on. So that was how it started. And then with time, you know, times in those days, I'm talking about the early 80s, African fashion was not so
embraced.
Yeah, because it was very easy getting imported clothing, you know. Absolutely. There was still Kingsway, there was even 70s, there was UTC and so on. You get there, you buy your clothes and so on. So nobody was wearing, well, they do, but you know, it's just for the traditional Iran bobas, long skirts and so on. So we used to buy that. So I was still thinking of going into fashion. If at all I went, I was thinking, okay, just to do English wear and, you know, things like that. But along the line, I got work. I worked in the civil service, spent a few years there. And
is that the banking sector?
That's another one before then. Before I got into the banking sector, graduated, worked briefly in a private company, then got employed in the civil service. That was Water Resources, the liaison office in Lagos then. But I've always been an entrepreneur. I'll always make things. I don't know. I'll always do little things here and there and sell. And then after that, I got work within the banking sector. I started as a junior executive assistant or so then, which was for young graduates and so. And with time, you know, it was a busy career, you know, and then I just, that passion in me for fashion, everything just, it was, you know, everything was just downplayed and so on because I didn't even have the time. And then I need to go back a bit. I remember what even drove the passion was my mom. She can sew. She used to make household linen, bed sheets. Before all this studio show, they started doing bed sheets. She used to make UK standard. She would supply all the big stores, UTC, Leventis. So there was a machine at her disposal. So quite early, while I was still young, I could use the machine, which was the one with the pedal and so on. And I think it developed from there as well. But she didn't specialize in clothing. She specialized in household chair bags, embroidery and so on. So the passion was started from there. And then to fast forward, I left the banking industry, relocated to UK. The passion was still there and I was still making bits of clothes, but I didn't have that time. And then an opportunity came up and my office, they said, okay, if you want to leave, you know, when I got to an age, I said, I have to follow my passion, you know. They said there was voluntary severance. I took it. I said, yes, this is an opportunity for me. But, you know, and I was so lucky. I had a husband who is someone who wanted me. Yes, I know you've always been passionate about this. Take it up, do it. And he supported me. Because if he hadn't supported me, I don't think I would have been able to do it. There would have been a lot of conflict and so.
I'm sorry, please. You said you had an opportunity to work somewhere.
To not work, you know, my job after, so I was with Transport for London. I think I should go back to that. And then there was a restructuring, and then they said there was an offer if you want voluntary severance. They will pay you.
Okay.
You leave. I took it. I said, that's an opportunity. You pay me. And then I leave. I follow my passion. So I was doing it, bought machines and so on. But I wanted to know the nitty-gritty of fashion. Fashion is more than just clothes making. How do you do the design and everything? So I went back to school. I didn't go to university, for the fashion. I went to a college, Molly College, which was at Westminster, a well-recognized school. Took an HND there, which was a 2-year course, and I did fashion and design. And I started, my passion was, you join and then you know how to sew. But when I started, I found out, fashion is more than that. You're talking about how to draw. You're talking about the history of fashion. You're talking about building a portfolio. So many things. And even you need to understand textiles as well.
Wow.
So it really helped me. I didn't regret doing 2 years, because I could have done a short one, maybe 3 months, but it made me understand about textiles. It made me understand about the printing aspect, the sewing. Even when you want to do it as a business, you need to have professional skills. You need professional knowledge of, it's not just, there's a difference between a hobby and you're running a business. So the school taught us that. And then there's styling aspects, so many aspects. There's what is it, if you want to do mass production, well, for those who want to do it, how do you source for your fabrics? How do you get producers, those who will manufacture your things and so on. So that was how I started. And then after school I started my own business, but I wanted to specialize in African fabrics. I wanted to celebrate the African culture. And because I'm quite passionate about it. But by then, by the time I finished the school, the course and so on, I used to come to Nigeria a lot. I spent time. You need to understand what you want to do before you go into it.
Absolutely.
You need to understand the fabrics here, and you need to know a lot of things about what you want to, the heritage, the African heritage. So it started from there.
Sorry, I just want to, before you, because you're giving us the journey all through. So before the, what's it called, like I just want to understand a little bit of your work history as well, because it seems like you gave yourself to things that maybe, I would even say they looked like fashion, or they even looked like, because you had English and then you did banking, you were in the civil service, you said you now work for Transport for London when you travel. So I just want to really understand, maybe for us to understand the kind of person that you are as well, and when you make those choices for like work, or when you find it, how you found yourself in all those places before we run into how that translates into your business.
I'll start with, I've always been a creative person, and I'm not someone I find it very difficult to stay too long in front of the computer. I'm too restless to sit still, and then I love space. How would I describe it? It's just like myself and my husband now. He's quite different. He loves going out but I love when I go to a museum. Many people say museum to do what? But when I'm there, I see I'm able to get so much inspiration. I go to the park, I sit down there, the flowers, things give me inspiration, and you see me getting my designs from there. I see a structure, and then I get ideas, so many things. So I've always been a creative person, and the way people see things, I mean, when you see, look at this picture, what do you see? What I see is always different from what others see, because I go into details, and then when I start talking, I start to see the sky, the color of the sky, the mixture, and what are you talking about? The sky? What is, I get to a park and I say, look at how it's arranged. The flowers are here. Can't you see how it's, the way it's been, they're growing? And also the ones who are creeping plants, how they're going, the way they're spreading. And then I start saying, when you make a dress and then you do it this way. So, really? Well, that's the way I see things, and it's always been with me and so on. And then not only that, the way I see colors, I think that's even another thing. The way I mix colors is quite different, and that's part of what people see in what I create. The way I blend colors.
Your audience for your brand now. I remember you mentioned, because there's one thing I know, right? I personally, although we know that there's like there's data that non-oil exports, which is like other industries like fashion and all the rest that are not oil, have contributed significantly in the past few years to like Nigeria's growth, right? So another thing I've always known, like based on that, I know that people who because I have an aunt too who actually is in fashion, and she does export as well, but I know that it's mostly to the Nigerians there. But then you told me now that even like I remember telling me that whites, you also do sell to the indigenous over there. So how is that, how is it perceived, the African fashion, to them, based on what you know?
To be honest, they love our clothing, they love our outfits, and I really specialize in women's outfits. And you know, the African culture is very rich. I mean, it's got a very rich story, heritage behind it. And when we start telling them, like I use the adire, you know, they come, oh, I love this. What is this? I start telling them the adire, the process, how there's the adire, the is it eleko, the real ones, the ones that Bekuta make in those days and so on, the type of dye they use, and I start telling them the process. Ooh, you know, they get interested. They have such they call it, what do they call, shiboro, so they something like a technique they use as well over there, but ours is different. And then there's always a story. You know, because I remember the first collection I made, I call it Mojo. And what brought that, you know, what gave me that idea? And I tell people my collection is celebrating the richness of the African heritage. I find out, you know, no matter what we Africans are going through, we still love to celebrate.
Absolutely.
Oh no, we celebrate.
That's definitely part of our story.
Yes, we celebrate. You don't sit down, be moody. We celebrate. We go out, we mingle, you know. And even though that person will get back home, I still have to face the problem. But you go to the party, you dance very well. You eat, you shout,
you
do
your
this.
best, you go.
You understand?
Yeah, true.
So it's all part of our culture. We're always celebrating one thing or the other. It's not just weddings, birthday. It's more than that. You might decide the person who died 20 years ago, you want to, they call it turning the remembrance. Turning
There's always something to be celebrated.
You understand?
That's true. Yes.
So all those, you know, I now say, okay, there's so much beauty, no matter what people are going through, that thing is always there. So we're very cheerful. We celebrate our lives. We celebrate our culture, which is a rich heritage. One of it, you know. And that was the first thing I noticed when I came back. You know, some things you might be here, you won't see. But when you're coming from another environment, you see. But now to go back to why they love our outfits is most of them are authentic. They are quite authentic, and just like I say, we have a rich story, a good story. We have history. We link it to political, social, you know, historical events at times, you know.
Yes.
So that is there as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so you, like, one of the things that you said you do a lot of, you mix and match, you use a lot of fabrics. Like, was it in school when you went back to the HND that you now started learning textiles, that that was even abroad? Was it like a specific course in African fashion? How to ask, because I know that there are some of them that do that.
When I went to school, I knew I wanted to specialize in African fashion.
Okay.
Because they will ask you, we do courses where write about what you want to do and so on. How do you want to sell your product? And mine has always been, there wasn't any deviation at all, African fashion. But I wanted, yes, we celebrate the African culture, heritage. Let me use the word heritage.
Yes.
But at the same time, I just don't want to make it African. Why not make a suit with a mashoke to wear to the office? You can do that. So anybody would buy it. I'm not limiting my market to, just for Africans. Even the Ankara, if you choose the right color, you make it, you can wear it to the office.
Absolutely.
And then the thing is, I now found out even the big stores, they sell the Ankara. They make it into nice designs. So it doesn't have to be the Iran buba, the blouse and the normal skirt and so on. Because I could make a jacket. I use Ankara. I use what's it called? Adire.
Yes, ma'am. So which will push me back to my question on the textiles. Did you learn a lot about, more about our own textiles in that school, or when you came back? Because now you do special, you use ashoke, you said you use adire, you use the normal Ankara, you use the hair. They're wool. Just quite, yes. So I want to know if, based on your learning, was it in your learning experience that you were open to trying all of these ones, or it was based when you came back to start experimenting and then you came here, how was that?
Yeah, I would say, well, when I studied textiles, it really helped because, a lot of our textiles here, we give it names which are peculiar to only those selling and the Nigerian. But over there, when you say cotton, a lot of things they say cotton, they call it silk, but it's not really silk. It might be just polyester. But when I studied about textiles, I got to know, how do I test for silk? How do I know what is cotton? And so on. So I must say, when I went to the college, it really helped me have a better understanding. And then you need to understand textiles so you know how to mix them. If you don't have an understanding, you might mix the wrong textiles and the end result won't be okay. So it really helped. Yeah.
Okay. So on your business now, when it came to you starting the business properly, I would like to know if the challenges, first of all, are starting at the time that you would have started, you felt like, how did you exactly feel about starting a fashion business later in life?
To be honest, I don't have any regrets because I'm a person, when I go forward, I don't look back. I tell people. Because when you start moving back, you won't be able to move forward at the rate you should. And you might stumble. One thing I've learned in life is all the experience I have, it still comes in useful. When you've been in the corporate world, you know how to manage so many things. You know this essence of structure. You know the essence of, there's a difference between business and a hobby. You have to think of the financial aspects of it. You know the essence of accountability. You understand?
Yes.
So I won't say it took a while because I had to find the perfect opportunity because I have a family and I have to put that into consideration. You just don't just leave and I had young kids there. Some things you need to start maybe before you have children and so on. But to be honest, it's very okay. I was able to start, and once you get the support of people around you, it becomes much easier. And then God has a way of, when you say, I'm stuck, I still want to do, God has a way, when it's time, He makes all things beautiful.
Absolutely.
The opportunity, everything just comes.
Okay, so Ma, were there any specific challenges that you may have faced, structurally now, when you were about to set up and in the diaspora, if I'm correct? That's where you started.
Yeah, I was there briefly, but I started briefly there, but I think it was during the COVID period, so I couldn't do much. But what I'll just say is the challenge I had was when I decided I want to come back to Nigeria was I've been there for so long, and you find out you might not be in touch with quite a number of things. But just like I said, I'll put God again into this. How will I get this? How will I get that? But God will just make a way. I'll get someone who will give me that information. Oh, thank you. How will you do this? Where do you go for this? Somebody will come up, give me that information. And I knew this was just the time for me to move. And it's been like that throughout my journey.
Please, if you're enjoying this episode, kindly like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, B360 TV, and leave a comment, if this conversation is intriguing to you and you have any specific questions. Would love to engage with you in the comment section. Thank you. Okay, Ma, so going back, I know that you were nominated to be a member of the Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, by the Consumer Advocacy Foundation of Nigeria. That's CAFON.
It's really made me more aware of, with regards to standards in Nigeria, there's still a lot of work to be done. But to be honest, I believe we'll get there, And the organization, they're really doing a lot. There's a lot to be done, and they're really hands-on on it, because Nigeria is it's a peculiar situation. The situation is a bit peculiar because there's a lot that involves importation. We really import almost 90% of everything we use here, if not 95%. Yeah, they make their dye here. The dye is imported. Even the fabric they are dyeing, it's imported. So you understand?
Yeah.
Even the ashoke is imported. So now, being a member, it's made me aware of, so there's actually a body, an organization that sees to everything is done up to standard. And there's a lot of regulations being done to rectify so many things. But I tell people it's going to take time, but we'll get there. It's going to take time, but there's a lot of work going on.
What would you say are the peculiar differences between diasporan markets, their fashion markets, and Nigerian markets?
It's quite interesting you asked of that. The first thing is I ask people when they want to sell globally, that's who are your target customers? Because some ship there, it's just to sell to Africans, to sell to the black people there. But some ship there, their market is not just focused on the set of people, but global Caucasians, Asians, to sell to them. So if you decide, you want to go global, you want to start supplying shops, you want to go for exhibitions there are some standards you should have. Number one, you must know what you're selling. You understand? If I ask you, because I put it a Caucasian would ask, said, are your things cotton or polyester? You just don't lie. You tell the truth. You know why? Because that person might react to polyester. That's why he's asking
that question.
You understand? So when you start lying, you're losing your market, because if that person buys and tries it, you've lost that market, And then you do correct labeling, and that's still part of being honest. So you as a person, you must be knowledgeable about what you're selling. Is it cotton? Is it polyester? What sort of dye is being used there? You understand? You need to know quite a number of things. And not only that, the standard. I tell people, and my customers know, I sell as if I'm supplying a shop there. That if it's which shop, if it's Selfridges, my things can go there. You understand? So your quality is not just it's beautiful. What is inside? The quality of your finishing must be top notch. Because people are not just buying it because it's badly made clothing. No, it doesn't fit. It's not hanging where it should hang. It's not just it looks beautiful on the hanger. But is it hanging well? Does it hang on the body well? You understand? The finishing. You're wearing a blouse now. It's on the shoulders. It's not as if one is here, it's crooked or it's not standing straight. You understand? And not only that, you open it up. You've used the proper thread. You've finished it well, neat. You understand? So that is important. So global market, yes. And also the market is there. I tell people they will buy if it's good. And then you need to understand, if you're not just focusing on Africa, you need to understand so many things. Colors, what colors we wear is different from some colors they wear because of the skin tone. You understand?
You mentioned.
Because of the color of the hair. So many things. And, and you need to sort out your logistics. Your customer service should be spot on.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay, so another crucial question about running a fashion business, especially, an African one, would be questions about like production costs, which is labor costs, the cost of production, like the fabrics, so all of those things, the what they call raw material, right? And the infrastructures, that you need for production and all of those things. How do all of these things affect your business, and how do sourcing for labor, like now you produce here and ship there, so what are like those challenges that you may face, and how do you think it's, how do you work around it?
I'm not going to say there are no challenges, but just like you said, you work around it. You understand the situation here and so on. I'll start with the production costs. It's one thing I found out is maybe due to the social trend here, what is happening here, the prices are not stable. It fluctuates so much. If you don't do your pricing well, you'll be in trouble. Because we have to factor in petrol, we have to factor in electricity, we have to factor in water, so many things. Even you look at petrol now, today it might be 830, tomorrow you come in another 1 month's time, it's 900 and something. And we need petrol to run our generator if there is no electricity. And then you might say, oh, electricity, okay, it's there, oh, it's cheaper. And then they'll take it for 1 week, there's a problem. So all those you have to factor into your business. But you understand, to be able to break through. If you don't do that, you'll be at a loss. So that's there. And also we talk about the skilled labor, the artisans. You need to understand them. You need to understand them. It's a big story.
Yeah.
You need to understand them.
So
initially when I came here, I was thinking like, the way we do over there, if I don't come to work, I'll call in sick. I'll call in and let them know I'm not coming to work. But here they won't call. If I'm going to leave, I need to give them notice. They don't hear. So you need to understand how it is. And when I see, you just need to understand. It took me a while, and then it used to affect me then. But now, you when you understand them, you get through.
The world is heading towards sustainability now, and fashion is one of the ways that we're actually trying to promote sustainability, because there's been a lot of I think from a lot of these fast fashion brands, we have quite a number of waste that comes from them because they are out of season clothing, and then they go there. But then those are like global, like non-African brands. But for Africans now, and also in your business as well, do you think our industry, let me just cut as an industry thing now, is doing enough in terms of sustainability, and how is that one of the core values in your business? How do you implement it?
Well, I must say we've really gone far with regards to sustainability, and it's improving every day, because a lot of people now, you hear a lot of designers, they talk about it, in their own little way. There's more awareness now about sustainability, which is very important, because there's global warming, and we can't be in denial that you can just use anything and we won't get the repercussion later. And one thing I find out is There's a lot of educational stuff going out with regards to sustainability. And what I would say I'm doing on my own part is with regards to the fabrics I use, I'm quite particular.
Okay.
And I'll say this. I find out we have a lot of fabrics that's trending as adire, but they're not adire. They come out cheaper, but they're very poor quality. And you can't use them for long. People buy them and, they don't know the difference. But if they know the difference, maybe the ones that are made here, there's a lot of process that goes into it. And the process would make it a bit more expensive. I don't use those inferior ones because I believe, why would I use something that is not okay? And then the production, do I know how it was produced and so on? And also, most of our ashoke, I'll use that as an example, most of them are cotton, at least like 80% are cotton. They use the silky one and so on. Most of them are produced well to an extent, but some people don't have the understanding that some actually do it. They add all sorts to make it so stiff. They can use glue and so on. It's all part of lack of knowledge of what sustainability is.
Yes.
But I don't buy such. But what I'm just trying to say is sustainability is really gone. It's even beyond just the fabrics, even the packaging. We use a lot of nylon here. I'm guilty of that. But it's getting to a stage abroad now. They don't even use those plastic bags. They wrap the clothing or they put it in a paper bag. It's all part of it. You understand? Because those polyester, the nylon bags, they don't degenerate. They're not. They just stay there, and it damages the climate. But we'll get there. It's not so bad. But with regards to the chemicals they use, the components, there's still a bit of challenge, and it's got to do with what is being imported here. I was talking to one of my one of my suppliers of the adire, and I was saying, your things, bring it down. And so he was now telling me the challenges they go through. He told me, do you know we buy bales of cotton? Do you know they ship expired cotton? I said, cotton's expired? Yes, I said, yes. Once you're holding it, you see it starts to fray. And then we might find out of 100% of what we have there, 60% might be expired fabric, so we can't use it. So what happens? That means we have to cost it based on the 40% we can use. So sustainability, that's part of it. Why do you ship something that is not okay here? And even the dye, some are banned. You can't use it anywhere because they say it's cancerous, They still bring it here. So that's what Standard Organization of Nigeria, they're all working on. Yes. They ship a lot of what is not acceptable.
For Nigerian designers or African designers to scale globally, I mean, you have to, first of all, your prices need to actually be top. Like, it may not be as affordable for the average Nigerian. Yes, like, if I'm correct. Here.
Okay.
Because there are now some fashion brands, indigenous, that are now performing at a global level. And then you just know that when in an average, if you're thinking of like the most average Nigerian who just earns like an average salary, you know that kind of brand, I can't go for it because it's not within my pay grade. But now those are like part of the things now, I don't want to call it a challenge, like one of the things that we would face in terms of some brands being elevated, knowing that okay, now the average Nigerian may not be able to afford an African brand that is now doing well globally.
Well, that's your question. It's in two phases.
Okay.
Because when you say globally, that it doesn't necessarily mean maybe because you're global, you have to increase it here. But one thing I'll start with is you need to know your customers. Who are your target customers? Some people will come, they will see my products, they will say it's expensive. So it depends on your customers. I make outfits, I know my customers, the target or my target, the type of customers that will come, they will buy it. And someone who is doing something much cheaper has her own customers. You understand?
Yeah.
And someone who is doing it even much more expensive has got her own customers. But you can't satisfy the market, all aspects of the market. You have to decide your niche. I keep on using that. Who are your customers? If you don't do that, you just be playing, you just be wasting your time. You can't sew for all, but you need to understand who are those who will come, they will buy. Is it the Gen Z? Is it the matured woman? Is it the pensioner? You understand? So as I'm talking, the price is there.
Different.
You understand?
Yeah.
So if you now want to prepare, you want to make clothing for somebody who is 15 and someone who is now top flyer in her career, what they need, or someone who has retired, it will be different. That's number one. So when you now talk about global markets, by the time you start getting to the global market, you're selling there, you're supplying maybe shops, or you go for exhibitions there, you need to have a standard. Just like I told you, there must be a standard. So when you start improving on your standard, you start working on it, definitely it will affect what you make here. Unless you have two different sets of, okay, I'll make the cheap ones, I'll call it another name, I'll make the more exclusive ones.
Like you it's understand? Called, I think there's a word.
Some people have that. Some will say, this is Jolaade, the exclusive one. And then there's unique designs is another one. Some do that. But you need to know your market. There's a term
for that, so it has skipped my mind.
Okay, yeah. So it depends on your market. Okay. Because some would come, they start pricing, you get some customers, I sell something, I said it's maybe, let's say it's 70,000. Say, I can't pay that, so can I pay 30? I'll now look at you, pay 30. How much did I make it? And you understand?
Yes.
So that means you can't buy it. But someone who is saying 80, okay, can I pay 75? It's still close to how much. So the market is important. Your customer base is important. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. So we're wrapping up now, and I would like for you, just to talk a little bit about your own brand. How much satisfaction do you like? Where's your very point of satisfaction when you are like running things in your business? Is it in the production? Because I feel like every designer has one part that they love the most. Is this dressing, seeing your outfit on another person, or creating it yourself, making those designs, or you love to be a part of the process thoroughly? Like, what's it like for you?
I'll say I don't think I'm just I'm in so many parts, and we're growing to the extent I'll start making sure I don't do everything. But I don't do everything now. I'm delegating a bit now.
Okay.
I love to design my things, and to be honest, my specialty, if you've followed my trend, is my kimonos. My kimonos is my unique selling point. Those kimonos, yeah. And I make other things with it, use Ashoke to do this. And then, I love to design, and I source for when I see textiles, I love fabrics. Some I'll buy, keep. I might not use it for 6 months, but since I love it, before it goes off the market, I buy it. I love it. And then because of my creativity, I draw and so on. I'll not, I have that. It is going to go with it. And then I create. So I love designing, but that inspiration must be there. At times you just hold the pencil and you're blank. When I say blank, you're blank. And then The production aspect, it's not my strength. But it's not as if I can't sew, but it takes me longer. But since I know about the production, I'm particular about my standard. So, and those who the tailors who work for me, so they know this shoulder is not okay. No, do this, do this. So it's one thing. Yeah, I'm not actually sitting down doing it, but I know about it. And also, I love to manipulate. I do a lot of manipulation with fabrics, which is I make not just mixing fabrics. I've not even done it so much of late. I love adding embellishments. You do, plates, different techniques. That was what I really specialized in when I was in college then. I love that. And also, I wanted to say something, just flew off my head now. I also love the aspects, the styling of it. When you do it, you do the styling, because people actually come, I want to buy this, what can I use with it? I start telling them this. If possible, I draw it for them. If possible, they come there, you show. You can wear it with this one. You can make it, you use so shoes, you put this on, you do this. You can wear it to so place. A lot of people, they don't even really know, I like this, but this trouser, what can I wear with it?
That's true.
Must I put on blue? He said, no, you don't have to put on blue. You can use white. You can use red. You can use a mixture, but don't make it floral, because it will clash. The stripe and floral, you see those things. So those are the things. And then some come, the colors. I mix colors a lot. Not the way normal people mix it normally. Because, what I'm putting on now, the trousers, it's got the navy blue, brown, red. I might decide not to use any of those colors. I'll use something that will complement it and it will go. If I put on a wine with it, won't it go? If I wear a white with it, won't it go?
It will.
If I wear sky blue with it, won't it go? You understand what
Absolutely.
I mean? So you call, but some people say it has to be, you choose one of the colors. I would. So those are things I really enjoy. And so
amazing. Thank you so much, Ma. All right, Ma. So for the last question that I would like to ask you, it will be, what do you think? I mean, you've already given multiple tips or multiple advice to a fashion brand who wants to scale and sell and know their customers. But I would want to know, like, in your own perspective, for more African brands to compete globally, at a global level, what would you see, or what would you like to see in terms of, like, should I say, structural changes, policy changes, or both internally and externally, both the fashion brand and both, like, what the economy or what Nigeria can do to support that skill?
To be honest, I must say Nigerians, we are really talented, not just with regards to fashion, even in so many aspects, but I'll stay on fashion. And there's a lot of creativity out there, a lot, which is, they're being recognized internationally. But the problem is, just like we said, economically, there are no, like now to produce, we talk about availability of what you want to do. Let's look at electricity now. It's not constant. Some say in places they don't even have electricity at all. They have to run on gen. It will greatly affect the business, and then they're afraid of putting so much price on it, not to make it too expensive. Some don't even have generator. If they want to use, they'll use coal and iron and so on. It will affect the business, because when you want a good outcome, when you're making clothing, for every stage you need to be ironing. You don't finish an iron if you want it to hang well. And there's the political trend as well. Look at the what's it called? The security within the country now. If I say I want to go to Kano, I want to source for fabric. If I travel by road now, things. It's all part of it. And okay, and then if you're talking about the what's it called? We're talking about even you want to scale globally and so on. The logistics. If you use DHL and so on, it's very expensive. How do you want to do it and then it will still be reasonable? And the logistic, the reliability to make sure they deliver on time. So those are the challenges. And then even the economics of people are really going far now. There's a lot of exhibitions pop up, which is bringing out the markets. It's awareness of what fashion designers have and so on. So, and also lastly, there's the aspect of whereby people, the fashion industry now, just like I said earlier, it's so versatile. We don't all have to be making clothing. There's the shoe, there's so many aspects, and even there's the production aspects. We have a lot of people being gainfully employed as well.
Absolutely.
Because the cameraman, the video man, the artist, the draper, and so on, is a means of employment for so many people. So economically, it's making the country buoyant and so on.
All right. Okay. Now that brings us to the end of today's episode with Mrs. Jolaade Akanbi of Jolaade Designs. Thank you so much, Ma, for joining us on this episode.
You're welcome.
And we hope that we will see you another time in the future on FemmeBiz. All right. So if you love this conversation, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And also follow us on all our social media platforms. That is B360 TV on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok. And that is bye for now. Again, I am Joy Abia, your host on FemmeBiz. Thank you.